Yo, this the one Chadio. Right now, you're listening to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards with my man Sincere and Uncle E. Act like you know. By the way, and still on all platforms. And still the one Chadio, all major platforms. Peace. Changing of the Hip Hop Guards, baby.
Right. Welcome everybody to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards podcast. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner Uncle E. And tonight we have the pleasure of speaking with the one Chadio of the group Crew. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Chadio.
No doubt, no doubt. You know what it is, and Sincere, you already know.
I already know. Got a new project out. Let's talk about it. And still dropped recently. Let's talk a little bit about the creative process going into that project.
Yeah, and still that was the whole entire project was produced by my man Talat Ilgar. Talat is a producer from North Nicosia over there by Cyprus. That's where he's from. And yeah, I knew him, I knew him for years, and he always wanted to do a project, but we just never got around to it for various reasons. But the time was right. He sent me some joints, and I started writing to him. It wasn't really with the focus of and still. It was just let me write to some joints. Let's do some joints. But then it organically just manifested into a project. Like let's just do a project. And I started just coming with the ideas, and really the music is what inspired me to do what I did on that album. Because if you notice, it's a little different from what I normally do a little bit.
Right.
When you're saying a little different, do you mean you trying to adapt a little bit more to what's happening these days?
Not really trying to adapt. Nah, just wanted to really what he sent me is what dictated what I should do and how I should flow on certain joints and things like that. Like especially like if you saw the single, Red Syrup, the music on it was really what dictated how I attacked that one.
Gotcha.
Speaking of Red Syrup, you got a video. Talk a little bit about Hostage Media and the usage of AI for this video.
Yeah, Hostage Media, man, came through heavy. Like I don't know if people know, how difficult it is to do a video like that. You know what I mean? Not just filming wise, but mostly editing, because Hostage Media not only films it, but edited as well. So the entire project is Hostage Media, because sometimes you have people that will film it, but send it somewhere else to get it edited and get it, looking the way it looked. But nah, it was all in house, and it was no joke. But man, knocked it out the park. Exactly what I visioned is what he gave me.
What came out.
I was happy with that.
So how do you feel about the whole AI? Because I know in the video in the beginning you're talking about, like, I think it was the Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, in the full version of the video, yeah, I talk about how Biggie was rhyming over the Mobb Deep joint, and it was Mobb Deep song, but it was Biggie rhyming it, so it sounded ill, like it just sounded ill. But
what do you think about all that?
Musically, I'm all right with it, because it's like when it comes to that, like putting Biggie on Mobb Deep and stuff like that, you always wondered, like, damn, how would he have sound on this beat, or how would she have sound on this beat? So we're able to like manifest that and hear it for ourselves, like, oh, that's dope. It's dope just for fun, you know what I mean? Right. And but I know what you're talking about. When you go up other avenues of AI, it gets real creepy. You know what I mean?
Right. But even like with the music, for example, like, do you think, or do you see, for example, somebody doing, let's say, like a mixtape or a mix CD of, and taking, like, let's say Biggie rhyming off of Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying, and making like an actual mix CD or something that you can ride around and listen to? Like, do you see that as something that might happen, like that'd be a normal thing to do?
Like right now, to be honest with you, anything can happen, because there's really no regulations. There's nothing no one can do about it at the moment, because it's so fresh and new. Anything goes, like, and that's a gift and a curse, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you running around and now you could just all right, I got a verse with Hove. Well, who are you? Like, you have a verse with Hove, but people can do that now. You can actually auto generate that, and it's a little, yeah, it's a slippery slope, man.
Right.
Because hopefully they don't do something where like we hear Chadio singing a Britney Spears song.
Right? They could do, they can do that, bro.
That would be crazy.
They can do that. It's crazy. Yeah, they can do anything really. You know what I'm saying?
Nah. But by the way, though, the video, man, is tough. It's really you know, it looks like the AI also gives a little bit more creativity now to do things with the videos, the visuals.
Yeah.
You know, that video is tough, man.
Thanks,
It
man.
looks, I don't know, it's like it kind of gives me like Marvel, you know. It's a
it
whole
was a
other
mixture.
world.
Yeah, like definitely, that's what it was. It was another world, and that's kind of what we wanted to set out and people to see that, like, you know, that's why I was human in the beginning, and then, you know, it's almost like I'm talking about it, but then it hits me. I become it. I become what I'm talking about in the beginning.
Right.
That's why you see me like looking at myself, bugging out over it, like, yo, what's going on? You know, throughout the video, you know.
For those who aren't familiar with how AI works, can you kind of map out how your vision came to life with this video?
I don't want to give away the secrets now. Now I'm messing with you, but basically, like you what you do is you'll take, like, let's say a scene in the video, right? Let's say I'm just walking in a park. I'm walking in a park, right? And you'll dump that scene into the AI, you know, a program you have, and then you type basically what you want. So you may say, I'm in a regular park, I'm in Central Park, right? And now I put, you know, I want to be on the moon with tornadoes, and you type that in, and AI will generate that and spit it back at you. And here's the part that's just so time consuming though. You can type that in, but then when it spits back, you may be like, that's not really what I was looking for. So now you gotta go back, dump it again, and type it again, you know, so until you get what you want. So that was the process in this video. Like, it was a long process. You kept dumping it in because it was something you wanted in particular. So that's what happens. It spits it back, and until you're pleased with it, you won't use it.
Gotcha.
Just so I could get a little bit better understanding of that. When you, for example, like if you type in, you know, you want a certain type of background, the thing is that you don't know exactly what it's going to look like until you actually type it in and it spits it back out. And it could be like, maybe it's a little bit off, it's not the right coloring or something, and then you got to like type it in again. Is that what's happening? Because you don't, it's not like you get a preview.
Right. It'll give you kind of a preview of what you want. And if you're not really riding with it, you'd be like, all right, let me just type it in, but let me modify my search, you know, as far as the keywords and what you're searching for to see if that'll help. And then maybe that might give me, you know, or be close enough to what I want or what I need, actually. You know what I mean? And then as you're going on, remember, if you start on a certain foundation, you got to build from that. So you got to also keep in mind that you know, if you got a story you're trying to tell or whatever, let's say, you got to, you know, you got to stay on that premise. It's
crazy. Now, so you had a scene where you were in what was it, Grand Central? No, was it a Grand Central Station?
Yeah, I was down there.
Right?
Yeah, I was down.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So are you filming, like actually filming at Grand Central Station, or is that, and then you mixing both of that with the AI?
Yeah, I was filming actually in there. So
Okay,
you really, so let me just back up a little bit. You're really filming a video. I'm filming, you know, that's all me. Like, and I have to act it out, and I have to film it, or the performance shots too. That's when I'm, you know, spitting the song. That's me also going in. But you know, then we're gonna generate it in AI however we like. So yeah, we was on locations, and we actually filmed some of it, most of it in Grand Central, and then my performance scenes was in the Bronx in the boogie.
Okay.
Very dope. Like I said, you got this 10-track project out. Let's get into some of these song titles, and you can give us a little background as far as some of these songs go. Same Old Story.
Same Old Story. Yeah, that actually was one that's a lot. One, he sent to me. He was like, he really wanted to, he had that one in the clip for a minute. He really was excited about that. He wanted me to do. So that I had to do it for him. You know what I mean? And it came out dope.
No doubt. Beautiful Lies.
Oh yeah, Beautiful Lies. That I like to. I don't know if people know this, but I usually like to tell a story or two. Something with something that means something. You know what I mean? Instead of just spitting. So that was a little message in there. You know what I mean? If you listen to it, you'll hit a message in the end. You know what I mean? I definitely give you a specific message in the end.
Right.
About what you should and shouldn't be doing, I guess.
And I feel like that's missing these days in music. So, definitely a shout out to you for still bringing messages within the music. Much needed. Life.
Oh, that was my joint right there. That was one that felt free and like, you know what I mean? It felt free, but I also was telling you life ain't fair. But if you hear the song, it's a song that kind of like it gives you like a positive mood, like, mood wise. But what I'm talking about really isn't, it isn't positive. I'm talking about how life is not fair, but I'm going to do me regardless.
Right. Gun with the Funk.
Gun with the Funk. Yeah, Gun with the Funk was something that was different. You see, that's one where I could see E asking me, yo, was you trying to conform? Like, are you trying to conform to today's joint? It wasn't that. It was that the beat dictated that. You know what I mean? I never, no disrespect to new music and how they doing it and all of that, but y'all know where I come from. I come from the 90s. So that's always going to be my foundation and what I'm representing. I'm representing Boom Bap always. But if, I like, because Talat challenges me. He'll send me a beat and he'll know this ain't Chadio style. But let me see, I know what he's doing. You know what I mean? I know what he's doing. So I take it as a challenge. And so, I flipped it in that manner only because the beat dictated it and the challenge of it.
Dope.
Right.
Pasquado.
Oh, Pasquado. See, Pasquado, when he sent me that was like up my alley. That's like a crew. That's like a crew type of vibe. You know what I mean? That's something we would have rocked with and flipped. You know what I mean? So when he sent that was a no-brainer. I never asked him, but I don't know if he did that on purpose, because it was a crew type of vibey track, or it just happened that way. I don't know. That's a question I need to ask him.
Yeah, that'll be kind of dope to find out.
Yeah. I'm wondering right now as we speak if because it was right up that lane, that was a crew feel right there.
No doubt. We gonna make it out.
Oh yeah, we gonna make it out was, that was, I don't know, it's funny because if you listen to it, when the way I'm kind of rhyming it with that like rhythm that I'm doing, if you listen, that's really 2 tracks of me. So it's like like an alto and a baritone, you know what I mean? So I did that so I rhymed it the same way, but if you listen now, if you go back and listen, you'll hear that it's really 2 tracks of me. I just raised my voice real high for one and put it extra low for another and meshed it like that.
That was your idea?
Yeah. I did it, and then I actually, I did those vocals in the crib, and when I brought it to the studio, engineer, I didn't tell him that we pulled it up. He was like, what's going on here? Who's this? He was like, yo, who's this one with the high voice? I was like, that's me, man. Just we're gonna mess it up.
Nice.
Golden Era Memories.
Oh yeah. That's an ode to the 90s. You know what I mean? It was kind of like for anybody who's listening that never listened to me, just giving you an introduction to, the era I'm from and basically what I did and who I was with That's why you see me mention all the MCs I mentioned that, I was affiliated with. That's all true facts. That whole joint right there, if you want to just get a glimpse real quick, that's the one to go to, because everything there was, talked about was a true fact.
Right. Young Savior.
Young Savior. Okay, so again, I know Talat sent me 2 tracks. It's probably gonna be the next one you name, but he sent me this particular track, and I said, I know he's really, because the other ones I did, I did those, sent them back. I know he's really trying to get me now. You know what I mean? Because if you hear Young Savior, the track alone, it's like, what you gonna do with this? Because I remember, to be honest, when I was playing it, my wife came in. She don't never do that. She don't get involved in this. She don't, you know what I mean? She's not really from that. You know what I mean? So she came in and was like, yo, like, what's that? I was like, oh yeah, it's a track my man sent me, to Lot Boom Boom Boom. And she was like, damn, that's really nice. She closed the door. I said, yeah, it's really nice, but what am I gonna do with this? You know what I'm saying? I ain't tell her that. So, but I just lived, like, I sat with it the next day when she was gone. Nobody was in the house. And when I sat with it, it took me, what you hear, that track took me there. You know what I mean? I didn't dictate that song. Like, I didn't have control over that. It's almost like the music took, like, yo, you need to be right. This is where you need to be at with that. So that's why you hear it. It's very different. But I really like that one. The way it came out, I was pleased with it.
Yeah, did you always approach writing in that fashion? Like, did you always let the beats or the music dictate what, you know what I mean, how the story that you would put together, or how the flow would be? Or did you ever write and then, you know what I mean, what was your go-to?
I did both. Where sometimes I would write, and then, you know what I mean, if a beat came on and it fit, I would do that. But most of the time, I like to let the music inspire me, because I feel like it's almost like a hand in a glove at that point. Because sometimes you could write prior to hearing a beat or getting a beat, and it won't be like a hand in a glove. You know what I mean? It'd be a little, like, because they didn't work together. You did it separately. You wrote, he did the beat. Y'all, it was if somebody's going to do a beat from elsewhere and send it to you, you should allow them to do the beat, get it, live with it, let it inspire you, and then pen. You know what I mean?
Right. So man, just listening to you talk and break down things gives me chills, man. Like, it you don't hear. It's like you don't really. Oh man, I don't even know how to explain it, bro. You don't hear too much about that anymore. Like the process, you know what I mean? And sometimes a lot of things feel so assembly line type.
Yeah.
Microwave, whatever you want to call it.
It's you're right. It's like an assembly line. It's like you just want to do what's hot. You do what's out. Follow. Nah,
right.
You should always let the music inspire you and go where you want. That's why Young Savior, for example, most dudes wouldn't have did a joint like that. Nah. They feel they gotta uphold an image or whatever. Listen, when you're doing hip hop music, man, you know how hip hop is, man. What is going on in your life, what's going on around you, that's what we do. You know what I mean? We report that. We from within. And wherever it takes you, however it comes out, that's what you should do.
Right. Dope.
And the last track, All My Fault.
That's the other one I was referring to. It's in a similar vein as Young Savior. You know what I mean? But that one, I basically said, let me put myself in, let me put myself in somebody's shoes that messed up their marriage, or, you know what I mean? Like, now he's the baby daddy and he got a few kids, and, it's a tough situation. And a lot of times nobody will admit fault to it. But if you hearing that joint, he's spitting and trying to, plead his case maybe to his kids, or just trying to explain his situation, but he's owning up to it. And saying, well, all this that occurred, it was my fault. Yeah, it was my fault, which is a lot of us won't do that. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to spin it in that manner. But also that, here we go again, that track, that was another one that was like kind of left field. And that track took me to that place. You know what I mean? So once you allow the track to take you to a place, it becomes easy to pen it. Because you're at the destination already. Now you're just rewinding and penning where you're at. You're not looking for a destination as you're penning. You're already there, so you just going. You know what I mean? That's where that track took me, though.
Dope.
Very dope. The project's been out for a few weeks now. What has the early feedback been so far?
It's been real positive. It's been real positive. People were taken aback because they thought it was just going to be a normal boom bap project. I got those coming. In tons. We're going to talk about that. But this was something different that I wanted to do. I just wanted to have it. It's almost like a bucket list type of thing. I wanted to go there and be a little different, be a little more vulnerable and all of that. You know what I mean? So I just went there with it. You know what I mean? And musically, it's a solid project. I was pleased with it. I can't front.
Right. Any plans for physical copies to your consumers?
I didn't plan on physical copies, to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like filling out whether or not I should. You know what I mean? I'm not really. I haven't made a decision, but if it calls for it, I'll do it. Because I'm really a vinyl dude too. I'm like, I love vinyl, man. Like look, I know about you and Doom, right?
Yeah. Me?
I just got a delivery, a couple of Doom vinyls that I needed, and so you know what I mean. So,
word.
Yeah, I love vinyl. Yeah, I love vinyl. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got the new. They like reissued the Black Bastards one. I got that one.
Yeah. they reissued the Take Me to Your Leader joint too. So I had to get that. I never got that.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So are you working solely on your own? Do you have a team put together? Like how are you navigating through this stuff now?
I got a team. I got my man Hostage Media. That's my guy. Like when you see the visuals, that's who I rock with. So that's my guy. He's on my team, but he's doing his own thing too. He does a lot of work with various artists. He's official. So I got him definitely. I got my man Talat. I also have I guess this could be a segue also into the fact that I'm rocking with my boy C the Cuban, and I got a project coming out with C the Cuban. Yeah, we got a project we're doing. So he's
we've been trying to get him on, man, but it just hasn't been working out. His the scheduling. So we should have him on soon.
Yeah, we got a joint we working on right now. Actually, we going in the mix on July 8th. We going in the mix. So that joint is, it's an EP, about 7 songs, something like that. And we're about to mix that and get that out there. I also got a project with Chrome. Okay. Chrome Beach, Chrome, right? Mm-hmm. I finished his too. I did a lot of joints. I might have did like 15 joints, but we're not going to do 15. I'll probably keep like 10. You know what I mean? Right. So I've been working, and it's not like, it's almost like when I rock with you, it's almost like, you know what I mean? You become family. Like I can't rock with you and just you ain't vibing with me. Or you funny style or whatever. I won't rock with you. I won't work with you. You know what I mean? Right. So all these cats are cool cats, and you know what I mean? I can rock with them, moving forward if I want or whatever. But various people I rock with, but it ain't like a team per se, like, everything's in house and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not really like that. You know what I mean?
Got you. So you pretty much are like taking it upon yourself to feel out like, your audience and where you should be putting stuff out and stuff like that. You're doing that yourself?
At the moment, yeah. So you'll see the next project I come with is going to be totally different from And Still. I'm going back to that boom bap hardcore feel. which is my safe space, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? That's what I like to do. You know, I like it. You know, I like the boom bap, hardcore hip hop. That's what I like to do. You know what I mean? That's my preference.
So I know this segment right here, we're talking about your new stuff and your new projects, but one of the reasons why I'm asking about your team and filling out your audience, I'm just curious to know, coming from, Crew, the 90s and all of that stuff that was going on to where you are now. Do you find that you still have that hardcore following from back then now?
I find that there's I don't know if for lack of a better term, I'll say cult following. Like I find that the people that do follow are true Crew fans in every essence of the word. You know what I mean? And they there and they not going nowhere. It's it of course it's going to be a different from when you was out in the 90s. Of course it's going to be different, and the fan base will be, it won't be as much as it was back then. You know what I mean? Because I've been all away for so many years. You know what I mean? It's almost like some people don't even know I'm back. You know what I mean? Doing work, working on music.
Right.
What? They start finding out, and then they start coming over like, oh snap, I ain't know he was out here, doing this thing. So it's almost like I'm being rediscovered in a sense. You know what I mean?
Okay, gotcha.
Can you talk a little bit about the merchandise? You keeping the Crew flag waving high. Talk a little bit about the merchandise and where they can find it at.
Yeah, what's crazy is that people who, a lot of times they'll want you to like reinvent yourself. You know what I mean? You'll see people do that, and they'll have a past, but they won't really big up that past, and they'll try to reinvent themselves and move on with the times and all of that, which is cool. Right. I ain't saying it's wrong, but my choice was like, I was talking to C the Cuban the other day, and he was like, "Yo, that's dope that you really still keeping the Crew stuff alive, as well as doing your own thing solo." He was like, "Yo, that's dope." And I sat back and I was like, damn, I didn't even realize it, because I just did it because it's me. It's a part of my identity.
Right.
So I'm always keeping the logo alive, Crew, anything in the past. Rest in peace, Mighty Hard too. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my guy, man. You know what I mean? We lost 1/3 of Crew. So, I gotta throw that out there real quick. You know what I mean? Man. But
yeah, I know you guys got what I believe Chopped Herring on some past demos that you released. Are you planning on, or do you still have unreleased Crew projects in the cut?
Yeah. I actually have like the second album, unreleased album. I may have like 7 or 8 tracks from that. You know what I mean? And now, I've been thinking lately, like at first I was like, nah, I ain't gonna mess with it. But then I've been talking to people, they're like, yo, you should, you know what I mean? Release what you have. So, I'm thinking about possibly doing that also. So I got the project with C the Cuban, I got the project with Chrome Beats, I got another project I did, but it's me fully producing it myself. Like I did everything. I wrote, arranged, produced, and that's gonna be my own little thing. And I'm thinking about also releasing that, possibly those joints from the second Crew album.
So did you stay pretty much, because obviously you guys were a group, but did you stay pretty much in control as far as, the name and the logo and being able to move and
The logo's me, you know what I mean? That's mine, and but as far as the name and everything, we pretty much did, and everything's pretty cool on that end. But unfortunately, we not doing as a group. We're not doing anything with it. It's almost like I'm just solely holding the banner, which is cool. People, make their choices. I'm not knocking nobody. People move on in life, whatever. So. And now that Hard is gone, definitely it's just 2 left anyway. But I'm the one that's really, I'm still doing this. I'm still in this. Like, listen, it's hip hop. I am hip hop. You know what I mean? That's my culture for real. Like, this is in my blood. You know what I mean? Like, I've always said it. I've said it before. I'm from the Bronx. I was there when it was birthed in its infancy. You know what I mean? So I remember, I remember the beginning, and I remember the love is always there, man. It's just in my blood, bro.
Right. Yeah, something I wanted to ask you. You guys, when you put out your first album, you guys had put out like the 2 singles, right? Was the Bubbling was one of them,
Yeah, it was
right?
just another
And
case, and then
right.
Bubbly. Yeah.
How come what was the decision making behind making Bubbling a single and not Pronto?
All right, so let me just be fully transparent. I wasn't in agreement with Bubbling being a single. I didn't want that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I felt, we all felt though as a group, that Pronto should have been a single. The label, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. The label was like, oh, it's too vulgar. You know, you can't do that. You know, because it was vulgar. You know, the hook is super vulgar. But I was like, let's just do a clean version, and we could do it like, we could rock that as a single because it was a hot record. It was buzzing, but they didn't want to do it as a single. They were hell bent on Just Another Case being the first single, and then after that, the Bubbling thing was really a Yogi thing. He loved that record. He loved that record, and the label was fine with it because it was a record that wasn't vulgar. It had, it was up their alley. You know what I mean? Me, I didn't think. I thought there were plenty other records on there that we could have did as a single. If not Pronto, let's say it's too vulgar, right? All right, we can't do Pronto, but we had. Even though, people didn't know Anthony Hamilton was going to be Anthony Hamilton at the time, probably, but that record was dope. Pay attention. If I'm talking about a clean, commercial, radio-friendly joint, that could have passed as one. You know what I mean? I could have passed as one too. There was several records that could have pleased everybody. You know what I mean? In being a second single, but
So you said you like Pronto might have been one that you would have picked. Were you surprised or were you not surprised when you saw how Pronto was taking off and how people were responding to that?
I wasn't too surprised because I remember when we did it, I was like, oh, this is just crazy. The track, first of all, that Yogi produced, I was like, this is crazy. Like before we even did anything, I was like, yo, this beat is phenomenal. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, this is the one. Like that was our one. We loved Pronto.
Okay.
But like I said, the powers that be at the time, that's why, if it's a gift and a curse to be on a label. You know what I mean? I won't fully say it's a curse, but I won't fully say it's a gift too, because creatively they'll kind of oppress you a little bit. You know what I mean? We didn't allow that. If you hear the Dirty 30, Chris gave us a lot. Yo, listen, baby Chris, rest in peace also. That man gave us a lot of free reign to do our thing. He was, because he knew what we came in on when we presented him with the pre-demo. Then he put us in for a demo to make sure we still, it wasn't just a fluke. He knew what we bought because a lot of those records on the demo made the album. So at that point, he was like, yo, just go ahead, do your thing. But Def Jam was involved too, though. So now we got others that aren't on our same page as Chris and us and things like that. So that seeps in too, those decision makers and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Crazy. Got one last thing I need you to help me with, man, with my old age memory. Back in that time, after like when Pronto came out and everything and all that's bubbling, were you guys on at one of the Puerto Rican Day Parades float?
Yeah.
You were,
we was on the Hot 97 float in 1997.
Yo, bro, I was there, but I just couldn't remember if you guys were actually on the float or they were just playing your song. But
yo, check it out. It was us and KRS-One.
KRS-One, dude. I followed that float. Put it like this: I was with like maybe 10 of my boys, right? I followed that float from where we were to the end, to the point where I lost them. I didn't know where they was. I ended up going home by myself.
Yeah.
Yo, sincere. to this day, I don't think. I mean, listen. There's been a lot of dope Puerto Rican Day parades. I'm not saying that, but when I'm telling you, when the song and the beat would drop, everybody was like a sea of people, and everybody was just jumping up and down, bro.
Yo,
and then it would come, and then it would start again, and because
yeah.
they would like stop the flow, perform a little bit, then
check
more.
how we was doing it. E. Check it out. Sincere. Picture this. So I'm on the float, Crew's on the float. KRS-One standing right next to us. We doing Pronto. He's doing Step Into a World.
Step into a
boom, 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 boom. So it was like Pronto is as we're going up Fifth Avenue on the float. We knocking out Pronto. Then when we're done, Step Into the World comes on. He smashes it. Come on, come on, bro. You already know what KR does. He smashes it. Yo. Then it goes back to Pronto, back all the way up Fifth Avenue.
All the way. Yo, Sincere, I lost everybody. I was with, like Mr. Hood and all of them, to get your. They kind of came a little bit, but I was like, this is it for me. I got Pronto, which was my favorite. KRS doing Step Into, I'm like, I'm done. I experienced that whole thing up until the exit. Like where I forgot the street now, but where it makes a turn and it's the end.
I think it was like 86th Street, something 86,
like that. 89th, yeah.
Like that.
Oh man, I had to ask you because I was like, I know KRS, and I remember that they kept playing the song, but I was like, damn, were they there? I could,
Yeah.
But
it was crazy.
Man. Thank
you
for that, though. Thank you for that.
Where can the fans find the new project at?
They can find it. It's streaming on all platforms. Even though I don't have physical copies, I put them up on the streams. So all platforms, any platform you go to, is there, and still the one Chadio. You know what I mean? They're all there. Actually, all my stuff is up. Like even older stuff, I threw up everything. Almost like cleaning the slate, threw everything up. You know what I mean? And now I'm locked in doing these projects.
Right. Where can everybody find the merchandise at?
Merch you could get directly from me. You go to my IG page, you could DM me. My IG page at Real Crew, REALCRU. And I got the hats, I got the t-shirts, got some hoodies. I got all type of stuff, man, with the logo, man. I got stress balls. I got all type of stuff. I got little gibbets for your, your Crocs, the
wow.
logo. So I got a bunch of different stuff, you know what I mean? Little stuff. Yeah.
As far as social media, where can they keep up with you at?
I'm strictly on IG. You know what I mean? I don't want to go up too many avenues and just I stay on that one platform and I just, I hit up that. You know what I mean? That's where you can find anything related to me and Crew as far as any interviews I may do, any new music. Sometimes I throw music up there. I'll just throw stuff up there and give you a treat. Anything related. You know what I mean?
And still is out now. Thank you so much, Chadio, for the insight and background on that project. Everybody go out and support that new project as well on the way from the one Chadio. Thank you so much.
Good looking, fellas.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. You're a big inspiration. We couldn't wait for this one, so thanks again.
And I gotta say on my part, bro, I was always a huge fan. Love the music. I just want to say, like, I felt, what you guys felt like to me, and there was like a couple, like me and I got like two friends of mine in particular. Mm-hmm. You guys felt like when you find a gem and you like, yo, I don't want to share this with nobody, because it kind of felt, and I don't know if you saw it like this, but it kind of felt like everybody wasn't really catching on at one point, and we're like, yo, like, have you heard, like, this shit is dope. And so, like, me and I'm talking about at least from where I was at the time, and so I just want to say I've been a fan ever since, man. And this is truly an honor to be able to say this to you, and hopefully I'll see you in person. But thank you for everything that you guys have done, providing the music for us to enjoy, and the feeling you gave us, and thank you for still doing what you're doing now.
I appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate it, and just to piggyback off of what you said, it definitely was when we released the Dirty 30. It was a little ahead of its time. You know what I mean? For some people, like, you know what I mean? They had to catch up, and what proves that is that it's kind of timeless. Like, I'll get comments from people that they like, damn, man, I still rock this joint. Like that album, I still have in rotation. You know what I mean? So that kind of proves that possibly we was a little ahead of our time back then. You know what I mean? But right, it's all good right now. So you know, I'm
Right,
good.
right. No doubt, man, no doubt. So, like Sincere said, on behalf of Sincere, myself, Changing the Hip Hop Guards, thank you once again. We appreciate your time, man. This was very fun. And you know, hopefully we'll have you back to talk about some more new music.
No doubt, no doubt. I got projects coming, so you know
No
we
doubt.
can do that.